मैं तो दिल्ली में रहता हूँ और रेडियो फीजी बहुत रेडियो फीजी रोज सुनता हूँ.
रेडियो फीजी 2 देश की धड़कन.
Good evening, Fiji. In this bulletin, Employment Ministry flooded with complaints. Nawaikula and Bulitavu are not ethno-nationalists, says Rambuka. And council to probe illegal excavation.
From the studios of FBC Suva, Jackie Spate.
The Ministry of Employment continues to be inundated with COVID-19 complaints. These are on matters such as non-payment of statutory leave and other entitlements under the Employment Relations Act 2007. The Employment Minister says there are certain companies who they have liaised with that are not willing to comply with the law. Koroi Tandulala reports.
The minister says employers must understand that under the Employment Relations Act, what they can and cannot do is limited, and these must be respected during this current crisis.
But there are few cases where we have to deal with the companies. They are a bit hesitant to agree on the law itself. But as I have said earlier on, and I want to reiterate, that the Employment Relations Act is in place.
Kumar says they continue to receive reports of some employers using COVID-19 as an excuse to violating the Employment Relations Act.
My plea is for the employers to abide by their obligation and to comply with all the provisions of the Employment Relations Act. The COVID-19 pandemic in no way or form changes any of these provisions and your obligations to the law and your employees.
If countries fail to protect the world economy, the implications will be long-lasting.
The minister says the nationwide workplace survey that will start tomorrow will also highlight if employers are breaching the Employment Act, and those that continue to breach the law will be taken to task. Koroi Tandulala, FBC News.
Social Democratic Liberal Party leader Sitiveni Rambuka denies that certain SODELPA MPs are ethno-nationalists, despite their outbursts in Parliament. FBC News asked Rambuka whether he supports the comments of Nico Nawaikula and Moses Mbulitavu, who have made race-based comments in the House. According to the SODELPA leader, this is mere political grandstanding and does not reflect the true nature of Nawaikula and Mbulitavu.
I know them personally, so I can support them because I know what they say in Parliament is politics, and they are reasonable. They are the national thinking members, not nationalistic in the sense of ethnic nationalism.
The Nasinu Town Council is now carrying out a detailed investigation into the landslide and illegal excavation at Newtown Nasinu. The council has confirmed that the excavation in the area was carried out without its approval, and they are trying to ensure there is no repeat. Kritika Kumar reports.
The Nasinu Town Council has issued letters to all the householders living in the Newtown area to refrain from excavating.
So it's just two families that who have been currently identified as involved in these excavation works. So letters have been given to all others as a precautionary measure as well, to keep them informed that they should not be doing any excavations without prior approval from the council.
The Housing Ministry is putting in measures to have more interaction with people in the informal settlements. The Permanent Secretary for Housing says the risk increases when people build houses in informal areas without proper approvals.
So we're putting up a system to sort of keep people informed about these things going forward. But I think if such risk areas are found, I think we'll have to sort of start acting on a case-by-case basis at this moment.
People have been urged to understand the seriousness of the situation and follow the procedures put in place.
So the procedure or the process is very clear, but unfortunately what we normally see, that there are some selfish people who put lives as well as properties at risk, as you have seen in Newtown.
The Housing Authority has dismantled one of the affected houses and relocated the occupants to a temporary evacuation center before assigning them to a house in a different settlement. Kritika Kumar, FBC News.
The Criminal Investigations Department is heading an investigation into allegations of police brutality against a farmer. The complainant, a 20-year-old farmer of Natolevu, lodged a complaint at the Vatukola police station. He claims he was assaulted by police officers when he was arrested for an alleged case of theft of livestock. The animal was found slaughtered in the Natolevu village mountains on the 27th of March. A team from CID headquarters is currently conducting interviews. Police Commissioner Brigadier General Sitiveni Gilio says all reports against police officers and services will be investigated thoroughly and dealt with accordingly. He says the force will institute internal disciplinary processes and, if charged, officers will be produced in court. The 10 retired Fijian midwives who served in Samoa during the recent measles crisis have left a lasting impression on our Pacific neighbours. 2020 has been marked the International Year of the Nurses and Midwives, and these Fijian women say they are proud of what they've achieved so far. Apenisa Wangarandovu reports despite their retirement, these women are ready to provide services if duty calls again.
We were there.
Given another chance to serve the people was a blessing, says Kelera Rambuka.
For someone like me that has been at home for almost a year, that was an enjoyable moment for me. You know, being without a job and to go back and give back to the community, that was very rewarding.
Urmila Devi says while it was challenging, they could not have asked for more.
Like in a day, we used to do around about 12 deliveries per shift. It was quite busy at that time. They were very grateful to have us there.
The Fijian midwives even performed beyond their role during their deployment in Samoa.
In Savai, there are no doctors in Savai, no gynecologists. It's only the midwives over there because they admit, they discharge. And any high-risk cases, then they call.
Because of that midwife post, I've been able to travel.
And even though I have been retired, with that knowledge and skills, I can still share it out in the community where there is a great need in terms of women's health.
These retired midwives were sent by the United Nations Population Fund to Samoa for 10 weeks to support maternal health during the recent measles epidemic. Apenisa Wangarandovu, FBC News.
Up ahead, Southerners the only curfew breakers. And Ministry to protect habitats for migratory birds.
Natango aprosra nangarse, ngor kraki, do televizyon navarong na Radio Fiji 1, nandomo ibiti.
Radio Fiji 1, nandomo ibiti.
Eight juveniles aged 16 and 17 years were arrested last night for breaching curfew. Police say they were found sitting outside the Ngiri Hall in Asinu during curfew hours by a team of officers on patrol. A 17-year-old was also arrested with 3 others as they were found playing touch rugby at the Pacific Harbour beachfront yesterday afternoon. Police say all the 25 restriction breach arrests were made in the Southern Division. Police Commissioner Brigadier General Sitiveni Gilio says they are increasing mobile and foot patrols in densely populated areas. He says this has led to several arrests where people were found walking around or sitting in groups in public places during curfew hours. With Fiji being a significant resting place for migratory birds, the government is pushing for the conservation of key locations. The Silver Foreshore is one, where more than 100 godwits arrive around this time of the year to rest before they continue their journey southwards. Nature Fiji, Marangeti Viti, BirdLife International and the government yesterday celebrated the significance of migratory birds and their contribution to the environment. Venina Rakautonga has more.
Migratory birds enrich our ecosystems and must be protected at all costs.
We are blessed to have these diverse species of birds in Fiji, and they have an important place in our overall environment and contribute to the enhancement of our livelihood in a number of ways.
Minister for Environment Mahendra Reddy says most birds in Fiji are unique and we must take responsibility in looking after their environment.
These birds connect to all of these habitats and they connect us the places where we live to places around the globe. So as such we have to ensure that better chances of survival with these birds, we all have to conserve the ecosystem that support the movement of these birds.
BirdLife International Regional Program Coordinator Dr. Mark O'Brien says the Suva foreshore is one of the hot spots for these birds, making it a prime site for preservation.
Nasasi foreshore, or Suva Point or whatever, is probably the most important site for those migratory shorebirds in terms of numbers, anywhere in Polynesia or Micronesia.
With the theme Birds Connect Our World, Nature Fiji, in collaboration with BirdLife International, are calling on the public to ensure Fiji is a safe place for migratory birds and other species. Venina Rakotonga, FBC News.
The Prime Minister visited the Lao group to see firsthand the damage caused by Cyclone Herald. He also visited the Moala jetty to see the extent of damage caused by the cyclone. The Fiji Roads Authority officials updated the Prime Minister on both the damaged jetty and other infrastructure developments on the island as work to repair the jetty continues. Bainimarama has assured Fijians that their safety will remain the biggest priority. While visiting Makanru in Matuku, Lao, he told the villagers that all necessary rehabilitations are being done on the island. And turning overseas, masks are now mandatory for all guests and staff of the White House after 2 aides tested positive of COVID-19. But the new rules does not apply to President Donald Trump. Karoy is up next with business.
Thanks, Jackie. Coming up, FHL's tourism portfolio worst hit by COVID-19. And FSC hopeful with sugar export earnings. Stay with us.
My name is Neha and I'm from Karavi, and Mirchi FM, it's hot.
Mirchi FM, it's hot.
Leading business, the Fijian Holdings Limited, in its market review, says the effect of COVID-19 has started taking its toll on business operations, largely affecting South Sea cruises from February. This was due to travel restriction from its main markets of Australia and New Zealand. It says the closing of Fiji borders from March 18th brought the operations of SSC to a complete halt, followed by the 14-day lockdown of Lautoka, with the government efforts to contain the spread of contagion. The FHL says the tourism sector in its portfolio is largely affected, followed by the finance and the construction sector. The Fiji Sugar Corporation is aiming for a good export revenue and is urging the farmers to produce the best quality cane this season. With harvesting to begin next month, Chief Executive Graham Clark says farmers need to be honest with the type of cane they will deliver to the mills. He says logistical challenges have been solved and the mills will be ready to start crushing.
No burning of cane. Please don't bring extraneous matter into the factories with the mechanically harvested cane, and help us with the purity, because we always say the sugar is made here in the field, not in the factory. So we need the best quality cane to come to the factory that will help us.
The United States entertainment capital Las Vegas had a booming economy before COVID-19, but now the chips are down in a big way. Casinos have been closed since mid-March, and now the mayor is fighting to get the city back in business. Gary from HFC Bank joins you now with the latest from the stock markets.
The US dollar rose to a 2-week high against major currencies today, propelled by rising US bond yields and increasing safe haven demand and growing fears about a second wave of coronavirus infections, which sent riskier currencies lower. Closer to home, Australian business conditions slid deeper into negative territory at -34 in April, as sales, profit and employment suffered from the coronavirus-induced lockdown. However, business confidence rebounded slightly to -46 from March's -66, but this provided little comfort given that it remains twice as weak as in the 1990s recession. The official April jobs for Australia is due later this week and is expected to show a record dive of over 575,000 jobs. Unemployment is expected to jump to 8.3% in March. Coming up tomorrow, the U.S. Consumer Price Index is forecast to drop by 0.8%, while the Reserve Bank of New Zealand is expected to leave its interest rates unchanged at 0.25%. And that's a wrap from HFC Bank. Vinaka.
Turning to today's exchange rates, as said this morning, the second day of the week brought about with it a mixed day for the Fijian dollar. Our dollar was up against the Australian and New Zealand dollar and also the yen. All others saw the dollar drop. Now on to the commodities market. Crude oil improved today to $24.48 per barrel. Gold down, closing at $1,702 per ounce, while silver was up to $15.68 per ounce. And that's it from Business Tonight. Jamie joins you next with the latest from sports.
Thanks, Koroy, and good evening. In sports tonight, Wong humbled with international recognition. And Bai believes some players will need to re-look at their career.
Bula, I'm Miri, I'm from Lotoka, and I love Gold FM because they play all my classic hits.
Gold FM, only the classic hits.
Kathy Wong continues to pave the way for women in rugby by being a driving force in Fiji and across Oceania. Wong has been named one of the top 20 most influential women in rugby by Alison Donnelly of Scrum Queens and the Sunday Times. Karlani Tabi with the details.
Kathy Wong says throughout her career she had been fortunate that people treated her as a physiotherapist first and a woman second.
And they treat you as a professional number one. Being a woman became insignificant. You were just part of the team. And that allowed me to transfer that, if you may say, that experience into the other sporting fraternity. And because rugby is such a male-dominated sport, when they realized that, okay, she's accepting the rugby fraternity, it made it easier.
Wong is advising young aspiring physiotherapists to set their goals and work towards it.
I always advise my young physios is you don't become a millionaire overnight. This takes work and hard. You don't become a Kathy Wong overnight. And you never will become a Kathy Wong. You have to create your own pathway. You have to do it yourself.
Vasanok Chief Executive Lorraine Ma praised Wong for her contribution not only to rugby but other sporting fraternities.
Kathy has made a huge contribution within Vasanok as well. So not only in rugby. In the early days, she was a Team Fiji physiotherapist. She's a very I guess we could say high-profile sports administrator, serving in different areas.
Wong's portfolio includes being one of the first women from the Pacific to be a World Rugby Council member. Karlini Tavi, FBC Sports.
Fiji Sevens winger Mniasi Tuimamba may soon make his big break in French top 14 rugby. The 25-year-old was included in the list of 2020 to 21 top 14 transfers. In the list of transfers is flying Fijians hooker Penny Rabai, who will be leaving Bordeaux. The COVID-19 pandemic has been a rude awakening for rugby players both locally and abroad. Given that all sporting tournaments are still on hold, athletes who are heavily reliant on the sport as a source of income are being urged to look at other alternatives. Former Flying Fijians rep Saramai Mbai says players who do not have any other form of employment are being hit the hardest.
The most probably challenging one is the unemployed one, unemployment. So in order for them to tackle this, they need to find a sort of a job or probably enter something that can generate income.
The New Zealand government will ease its COVID-19 restrictions and come down to level 2 on Thursday, paving the way for New Zealand rugby and netball to relaunch their respective competitions. NRL clubs have had their first taste of full contact training as they step things up ahead of the league restart. But with just over 2 weeks to go until the competition resumes, the return of the rough and tumble of the sport comes with a warning. That's it from sports this Tuesday evening.
Bula, I'm Miri, I'm from Lotoka, and I love Gold FM because they play all my classic hits.
Gold FM, only the classic hits.
And it's weather time now with our favorite lady, Angie.
Bula, namaste, and salam to you. Hope you're having a wonderful time with your loved ones or just by yourself. The weather is suitable to do just about anything. But there will be a little twist to the weather scenario in the coming days. I'll update on that in a while, but first, let's see what the other centers had in store. The West had adorable sunshine. It was very settled without any worries of rain. It mostly felt like 36 to 37 degrees. Eastwards from Pakhaba to Suva, cloudless skies made an entry, but it changed quite quickly when rain clouds took over. The night will have few sprinkles. And up north, low-hanging clouds with perfect combination of clear blue skies. At sea, southeast winds 15 to 20 knots, moderate seas. Turning to the tides, high tide at 11:11 p.m. with low tide at 5:04 a.m. Sunrise at 6:23. For tomorrow, here's the twist. Rain has had enough holidaying and is set to return. Pretty sure your umbrellas are dried up by now, and so it's time to get it back into action. Tomorrow's stamps, the Soccer Town Bar was high-spirited today, rose to 33 degrees. And looking further on to Thursday, say what? It looks clear. What is this rain on about? Looks like a competition to me. Anyways, that's all the weather news from here. It's back to Jackie.
Thanks so much for that, Angie. In Fiji on Pulse tonight, we ask, are you confident that COVID-19 restrictions will be lifted this Saturday?
I think the restrictions can be lifted because there's no more new cases.
So it's been so many days we had no cases, and majority of the public, they have been practicing safety and health.
I'm confident that it will be a good timing for us to get back to normal, just like old times, and that's all I can think of right now.
I don't think we are COVID-19 free just yet, because there is no cure for it. For this disease, I think we should be, remain cautious.
Recapping the main stories for tonight, Employment Ministry flooded with complaints. Nawaikula and Bulitavu are not ethno-nationalists, says Rumbuka, and counsel to probe illegal excavation. Now for these stories and others, tune in daily to our sister radio station Gold FM. Our poll question, we're asking, should a banking ombudsman be appointed to overlook bank services in Fiji? Visit our FBC website to answer. And our shot of the day. Beautiful weather is prevailing over most of the country now. This scene was captured by Jashlin Singh. And show us what you've been up to during the lockdown and movement restrictions. Email fbcnews@fbc.com.fj or share it with us via Facebook page FBC News and Twitter at FBC_news. That's your news for tonight. Until tomorrow, from the team and I, stay safe. Good night.
I'm Miri, I'm from Lotoka, and I love Gold FM because they play all my classic hits.
Gold FM, only the classic hits.